This is Alanis Morissette, by the way. This is what I know about you. I'm going to tell you what I know.
Okay.
I know you're Canadian.
Right.
I know you're 21.
Right.
And I know you're an amazing songwriter. And I've listened to your record a bunch of times. Now I want to know everything else.
Okay.
Okay, ready, go.
Musical influences. When I was little, I listened to Annie Lennox and people like Seal as I got older. I had been creative writing since the time that I was really young, and I started writing songs when I was 9 and released a record independently across Canada when I was 10, and that's where I got the first taste of it, and I knew that it was something that I had to do. Stylistically, the difference between the music that I did when I was younger compared to now is that a lot of the music that I wrote back then was for the sake of entertainment, and it was much safer. I don't think I was secure enough and fearless enough to be as unadulterated as I was on this record. Whereas now, I write with Glenn Ballard, and it's just very warm and open and non-judgmental. So it's really, a very spiritual experience, whereas before it wasn't quite the same.
You know how us Catholic girls can be.
When I'm on the road, I usually write lyrics first, but when I'm in the room with Glenn or when I'm back in Los Angeles, I write everything at the same time, because a lot of times a melody will write a lyric itself, and it's actually the most overwhelming sort of spiritual experience for me, because a lot of times we'll be writing and I don't even know where it's coming from. Like I'll look down or listen to the tape the next day and I won't even have remembered writing it at all. Jagged Little Pill is lyric and you learn, and a lot of the premises that I write about on this record have to do with certain parts of my past, and a lot of times when I'm immersed in something really difficult, I don't realize that there's a lesson in there somewhere, and that it's only in retrospect that I'll realize why I went through it. So the lyric following it is just swallow it down. It feels so good swimming in your stomach, so that there's some sort of a payoff, and it may not be right away.
You bleed, you burn, you scream, you burn. You to know.
There is a guy that hears You Oughta Know. I'm not sure whether he knows it's about him. My nature is not very angry, and that song was very subconscious for me. It was an opportunity for me to actually listen to those dysfunctional voices in the back of my head and come to terms with them, because I had repressed how I felt about the situation for so long. I think if people are misconstruing why I wrote the song, I didn't write it for the sake of revenge. I wrote it for the sake of release. I love men. I love men, and I am now attracted to men that treat me very well, and I don't put myself in situations with men that don't. Jimmy Boyle, the man that mixed it, heard a version that Glenn and I had done originally, and he wanted to try something on it.
My friend Jimmy called me up and said, I'm remixing this song. Would you come in and play on it? And I said, okay.
At the time, we were kind of in hiatus, not working on the record, and, I like to work, I like to play music. So it was just an opportunity to go down to Maverick Studios and kind of remix that Alanis song.
I love playing with different people. I'm always happy to play with something different, whether it's completely different from what I usually do or not. I really enjoy playing with other people.
The writing of the record was such a spiritual experience for me, and it truly was perhaps one of the most overwhelming experiences of my life, and because of my analytical nature, I immediately wanted to pick it apart and figure out how it was happening and where it all came from, and for perhaps one of the first times in my life, I couldn't explain it, and that in and of itself was humbling.
I don't want to be the filler if the void is solely yours, and I don't want to be your glass of single malt whiskey hidden in the bottom drawer.
I have certain boundaries that I don't let anybody cross, but a lot of the lyrics are pretty literal, and a lot of them are pretty self-explanatory. So I have no problem speaking about something that I've already divulged.
Sorry, but it's true.
Apparently a lot of people think that my being 21 is odd because of the things that I've said and things that I've gone through, but it's my only perspective of life. It's the only one that I have, and to me, it doesn't seem odd.
Sometimes it's never quite enough. If you're flawless, then you'll win my love. Don't forget to win first place, and don't forget to keep that smile on your face.
I just have a whole new approach to my life, really, and that is just one of honesty and one of sort of vulnerability, because ironically enough, when I let go of all of the, worrying about other people's perception of me, everything just became so much more peaceful, and that's just the way I live my life, and it's the way I write my songs now. And it wasn't something scary for me, it was something really exciting. Glenn and I were really excited about how it was coming together. But what I found as time went on was that the more honest I was and the more forthright I was, the more empowered I became. And ironically enough, the more naked I was, the more peaceful I was too at the same time. Hand in My Pocket was one of the quickest songs we wrote, and Glenn and I were having a particularly dry morning, writing-wise, and we were sitting there and he was pacing and we were being a little bit hard on ourselves. And I just wrote on a piece of paper everything that I felt at that exact moment. And what I wrote on that paper wound up being the lyrics to Hand in My Pocket, and he and I wrote the music together and recorded it and mixed it. And Hand in My Pocket was by far the quickest from beginning to end that we did any song on the record.
People hear her and they connect.
Best new artist next year, I think. She just puts everything into her music and her songs.
She expresses her emotions straight from the heart. I mean, she sweats them out like a bad hangover. It pours from her.
What I found has happened with the shows that I've been doing is that apparently my being myself and being emotional has wound up, fortunately enough, being entertaining at the same time. It's hard for me to sing words that are that honest without re-experiencing it in many ways, and there are times where I'm spent like spare change at the end of a show, emotionally as well as physically, just because I have to keep communicating the emotions, and again, going back to the same place where I was at when I wrote it, which is sometimes a really beautiful, peaceful place, and other times a very confusing, difficult place. Throughout the writing of the record and before it and just growing as a person, I spent a lot of time alone and being very introspective, and now my life is a little more external, so I try to hold on to those moments as much as I can, the ones that are quiet. But it's just, as opposed to meeting one new person a day, I meet 10 new people a day.
Are you scared about writing your next record?
No. I have no fear in that area, because it's not about, the reason why I write is just for my own sort of release and my own, my own need to. I'm compelled to, I can't help it. And I don't write, I used to write when I was younger for other people and, really was intent on getting their approval, but now when I write, it's for my own reasons. So the next record will simply be a continuation for that.